Greetings, demons, and welcome to Warhammer Weekly Episode 3. This week we have a lot to get through, so I'm not going to waste too much time with an intro, but we are going to be starting with something a little bit different. I'm going to be going over everything I've picked up this week, which isn't too much, but is going to take a little bit of time, so let's just get into that, and then we'll get into the main topics after.
Not the leader of a cult, RabbitWithAxe.
But first, I thought it would be a neat idea just to go over the various things that I've picked up recently. So, starting off, I did kind of mention that I'd got them last week, but they only just arrived within this week. But the two first issues of Stormbringer did arrive. I have already started on the models, so I'm not going to be showing them off specifically, because I haven't finished anything, but I also have just about started everything, so, there's no sprues to show. But, yeah, we've got the first two issues with all of their models, which is mostly the Orruk. It's mostly the Orruk, which is always cool. There's a little bit of Stormcast there, but yeah, I'm going to be progressing through this. I'll probably show off some models once I've got them done. I've got one model that's somewhat painted but not finished. But yeah, Stormbringer, I'm very excited for this. This has been so much fun. I've only had this for a day so far, but I've been really enjoying putting them together. And, yeah, hopefully painting them is going to be just as fun. And then, otherwise, I've got three things, technically, that are... they're kind of interesting to me. I've also got Captain Messinius, which hasn't arrived yet, but should have arrived by now, but I don't know what's happened there. But, otherwise, we do have... He lives. We have Yarrick, and, Commissar Yarrick is one of those characters where I needed to have him in my collection, and, with them discontinuing him and killing off the character, I was going to assume I'd probably have to buy one second hand, but no, they did limited run of made-to-order versions of Finecast, resin, modern, quote-unquote, version of Yarrick, which is very cool, as well as, if I can get it off the pile, the classic Commissar Yarrick, which is actually in metal, which is beautiful. I don't love metal miniatures. I use a lot of metal miniatures within my my Astra Militarum, though, so I don't really mind. But yeah, both of these models are absolutely beautiful. And along with that, along at the same time, there was also the Inquisitor Power Sword and Bolt Pistol, which is also in Failcast, unfortunately. But yeah, I think, honestly, out of the two of them, between good old Yarrick and this Inquisitor, Yarrick has come off way worse in terms of the Failcast. The Inquisitor looks pretty good. This is my only Inquisitor so far, and I'm very excited to actually field him because he is so cool, and I'm really looking forward to actually having some Inquisitors available to me. But, yeah, in terms of my pickups, that's actually, yeah, as I say, Captain Messinius should have actually arrived by now, it just hasn't. But, yeah, I guess that'll be in next week's video probably, but yeah, on to the actual main topics. And the first topic that we're going to get into is that of Blood Bowl 3 is out now. Now, everyone that I know that plays Blood Bowl, the video games, has been really excited for this, so I'm sure this is big news for those that actually play it. Right now, you're seeing gameplay of Blood Bowl 2, just because I haven't picked up Blood Bowl 3 yet. I have both the first and second game, and I've been playing them on and off for a long time. I'm not the biggest fan of sports games in general, so it's never been something that is too interesting to me, but Blood Bowl 3 is now out on PC, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, and Xbox One, which is very cool. It's weird that there isn't a Switch release, but I'm not really going to question that too much. But yeah, I'm sure for people that play Blood Bowl religiously, or just really enjoy the video game aspect of it, it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to checking this out eventually, but for now I'm just going to stick with Blood Bowl 2, because honestly, it doesn't really matter to me too much to update, a sports game. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of features that are really cool and really new and, change it up a lot. But for me, right now, sticking with Blood Bowl 2. But yeah, I'm sure plenty of people will be interested in that. But that is everything that I'm going to go over with that. And speaking of Blood Bowl, we also had the announcement of two brand new characters for the Seraphon, that being Drull and Dribble, and they are some very, very cute little boys. I love them so much. We've been getting so much Seraphon, but I don't get tired of it, which is so weird, because, whenever we're getting large swaths of, various 40k stuff, I tend to get bored after so long. When it was Astra Militarum, I was getting very bored very quickly of how many things were getting announced. But, Seraphon are just so wacky and so varied. I love them. They're so cool. But yeah, Droll and Dribble are two new, I guess, special characters. I don't really know how the tabletop game works properly in terms of Blood Bowl, but they do look absolutely fantastic. And if this is a sign of what the new skinks are going to look like in future, I'm pretty happy. Though I will say the tails are so big. Like, the tails are just very thick, and current Seraphon, as they are, current skinks even, in plastic, have very thin tails. So I don't know if this is just, the Blood Bowl art style sort of thing, or whether this is due to them being fine cast through Forge World. I don't really know, but the tails just seem really, really thick to me. I don't know, it doesn't weird me out necessarily, it just confuses me as to why they specifically have really thick tails, especially when in this lovely, drawn art, they do have regular thin tails. It's very interesting to me, but I do love them in every other way. I love the posing, which is really cool, especially the one that's kind of doing like a karate pose. It's just very fun. The masks are very, very cool, almost looks like they've got closed eyes, which is always very fun. I love the little feather design and everything. Overall, the skinky, Seraphon art style is just always so very cool to look at. I'm going to hazard a guess, you could probably put these into a regular Seraphon army pretty easily, even if you're just running them as regular skinks. I think that'd be a really fun thing to do, and I might end up picking them up at some point. They are very, very cool. But, yeah, overall, very cool. I do like the little snake and the little frog on their bases. They're very neat to look at. I do love little features like that. But, yeah, they can be ran as both the Seraphon and the Amazonians, I believe, and otherwise, yeah, they're just very cool models. I'm really looking forward to seeing these in person. I'm probably not going to get them immediately unless I see that they are very, very cool. But, yeah, overall, very, very cool models, and good to see Blood Bowl still getting more support. And speaking of Seraphon, we have a brand new set of models for the main 30k, not 30k, the main AOS army even, and it's such a good boy. It's the spawn of Chotek, and it's just a big dinosaur. And we love the dinosaurs in the Seraphon army, and honestly, this thing is amazing. It's a fire-breathing dragon dinosaur thing. It has like axolotl feathers, which are so cute, and I like how, for the most part, this is just a wild animal. This is just a dinosaur in its natural habitat. It just has the little ring around its tail and a little, like, set of headphones, essentially, made by the Seraphon, and that's all it needs. I love the little skinks that are following it around. Once again, they have thin tails by comparison to the Blood Bowl skinks. I don't know if that's, like, a weird specific thing, but in any case, I really like the skinks. I like how they've all got the little back armor, the feather design stuff on the, I guess the leader model with his little staff, with his little symbol on it. I really like this. The little proddy sticks as well, very cool. I really like this model in its entirety. You get two different heads. I don't know how posable this thing is going to be, because it does have a little tactical rock there, as all things should. But it does have two different head designs, one with like an open mouth, one with more of a closed mouth. They also do show it in a blue colour scheme, which is kind of interesting. I guess that would be like an ice or electric variant of it, maybe, or maybe it's just an aesthetic choice, I don't really know. But, yeah, it comes with the ability Glob of Flame Acid, which is quite interesting as a long range, and otherwise not anything too special, but it has 24-inch range, which is pretty good. But, yeah, I really like this thing. If I'm getting into Seraphon, I'm definitely getting this. I'm probably going to get a few of these, because they're just very, very cool. I hope there is some posability that can be done with them, a little bit of variation with their movement and their stance. But, yeah, honestly, I'm not too fussed either way, but yeah, I very much like this. I love the little changes to because this is a natural dinosaur that exists. I can't remember what it's actually called, but it is a real dinosaur that, once existed. We have skeletons of it. And I love just the addition of, like, the axolotl feathers and stuff, which probably weren't on it. But at the end of the day, dinosaurs, as we think of them, as we represent them, aren't really how they were. But yeah, just overall, I really like this model. It's very cute. It's very cool. Little lizard boy, just living his best life with a bunch of skinks. And yeah, overall, I'm very excited to actually see this one in person again. Hopefully, I will be able to get this one pretty soon. I do really like it. But yeah, I don't have a clue how I'll manage to paint it as well as it's been painted in these pictures. But still, that is it for the Spawn of Chotek, which I'm gonna have to get used to that name, because that's such an odd name for me. But yeah, very cool. And moving out of the mortal realms to the Horus Heresy, I did kind of slip up early and say that we were talking about 30k, but now we actually are with some Horus Heresy, some Heresy Thursdays, and we have the brand new Seraphon Venator, which is a high-speed tank. It is a variation of the traditional, which one is it? It's the, that's going to annoy me. It is a variant of a different tank, but I can't just see what it is in the article. But yeah, it's a 30k tank. It's in plastic now. It was in resin before, so that's always a good thing to get an upgrade. But yeah, overall, it's the Seraphon. It's just the original Seraphon tank. This is just the Venator version of the Seraphon. Anyway, this is just a tank. Basically, it looks very cool. I'm very interested in seeing its actual stat sheet if it doesn't already have it. I haven't actually seen it if it does, but yeah, it's covered in guns. It has a big cannon in the front. It's a tank. I don't know what else to say about it, because at the end of the day, like, tanks in 30k and 40k, they're cool. I do like them. I do own a Rhino, but yeah, overall, not anything too interesting. I must say, I do like the aesthetic of the 30k tanks, and 30k in general, the machinery in that is so much better, in my opinion at least, than that of 40k, especially compared to the new Primaris stuff. But yeah, it's a tank. I'm sure plenty of people that are into heavy artillery and stuff are going to be very interested. I'm sure that when the 40k rules come out for this, if they aren't already, it's going to be very, very overpowered, because everything from 30k is overpowered in 40k. But yeah, overall, not something I'm going to be picking up. I'm sure plenty of people are going to enjoy it, but yeah, that is really it. It's quite a boring Heresy Thursday this week, which is interesting, because the last few weeks it's been some of the best stuff. But yeah, moving on. It wouldn't be a week in February 2023 if we weren't getting yet another announcement of 2 more boarding patrols. They must be running out of ideas at this point, but in any case, we have both the Eldari and the Drukhari, so we're getting some Elves this time around. And going through the Eldari real quick, it contains 20 Corsairs who can be built as the Void Reaver troops, or the Void Scarred elites. And yeah, you also get Zainzar and 5 Howling Banshees. I think that's actually it in the set. I'm not sure. There's something else in there, but I can't actually see what it is in the list. Because I'm not too familiar when it comes to the Eldari, or the Elves in general, to be fair. Like, they're models that I do enjoy, but, like, other than the Harlequins, I don't really care about them in terms of, like, collecting them or knowing anything about them. But, yeah, some very cool models. I really do like the look of Jane Zar, even. Wrong way around. But, yeah, overall, it looks pretty interesting. I'm sure the value prospect is pretty good if you are an Elves player. But, yeah, if you already have, as with most of these boarding patrols, if you already have, like, the named character or the main character, you're going to be looking at this and going, what's the point? What's the point of me getting this? Which, yeah, if you're not trying to get into Eldari, you're probably not going to want this box, but it still looks pretty good. I quite like the variety of models, and the fact that you do get 20 of, well, the same model essentially, but they can be built in 2 different forms, means you are getting 2 squads of 10 out of this, and that's actually how it shows it in the picture, which is very cool. But, yeah, overall, it's a good box, but nothing too special. And unfortunately, Drukhari is mostly a lot of the same. You get Succubi, which, how many do you actually get? You've got 20 Witches, or Witches, or however you actually pronounce that, W-Y-C-H-E-S, I don't really know. And 5 Incubi. I don't know what else you get. It doesn't list out in numbers, which is really annoying, but 20 Witches, 5 Incubi, and Succubi, I guess. And it's basically the same in every way as the Eldari, where it's just, you get a named character and they're, like, ranking, like, defenders or whatever, and then you get 20 of the various models that you can have built 2 different ways. But, yeah, once again, if you're not trying to get into Drukhari, it's probably not that useful to you. I'm sure there's plenty of people that will jump at the opportunity to get some Drukhari at a good price, but, yeah. We have actually seen, thanks to the release of a few of the boxes on pre-order, that the price for them is actually £75, which is really good for some of the boxes. Not as good for others, but when we were expecting them to be around £110, seeing them for 75, that's really good bargain prices, because as I've said with previous boxes, some of them are, like, worth, like, around £200 in terms of individual kits, Some, like the Eldari here, are worth far less, but I mean, still, it's good to be able to get them at like a decent price, and yeah, I don't know. If you're trying to get into Eldari or Drukhari, it's not the worst time. You know, it's a pretty good set of boxes. I think their start collecting boxes are pretty bad as well, so yeah, at the end of the day, you could be doing a lot worse. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I do look forward to seeing what people's thoughts online are about these when they actually start coming out. But for now, it's alright. It's nothing to write home about, really. But I'm sure plenty of people are going to get some enjoyment out of these boxes, which is always great. And before we get onto the actual rumour engine for this week, I just want to quickly go over this 99,999 followers like announcement thing that Twitter got over on the Warhammer like Twitter account, which is a little teaser for a Tzeentch model, which is interesting. It's a little 5-armed eye with teeth holding magic. Even as a Tzeentch player, even as a Tzeentch Demons player, I'm looking at this and going, what is happening? I am very confused. I don't really know what this is supposed to be. It's Tzeentch. It's probably Demons rather than Space Marine. I'd be very confused if this was a Space Marine model. And it's an eye, some teeth, some arms, and a flame of magic, and then a bunch of like rings and various other things around the arms. But I don't know what else to say about it. It's a demon thing. I don't know what it is supposed to be. I'm not familiar with this from lore or anything. So, you know, if you have a better idea of what this thing is, enlighten me in the comments below. You know, bless me with your change of my perspective or whatever. But yeah, it looks interesting. I'm sure it's gonna be cool once it's fully announced. But as of right now, I'm just looking at it like, what on earth is this even supposed to be? Which is fine, but it's a little bit weird, in my opinion. And finally, as always, we're going to take a quick look at the rumour engine for the 21st of February 2023, and it's Smoke Grenade. Even the actual Warhammer community post basically just said, oh look, it's a Smoke Marine. The Smoke Marine is a Smoke Grenade from a Marine, and that's basically what they've said. It's probably not actually a Space Marine, just because, you know, they don't tend to rumour engine anything minor from Space Marines. I doubt it would be anything major, really, with it just being a Smoke Grenade. But, yeah, I'm thinking it's probably Astra Militarum. It might potentially be Sisters, but I doubt it. It could potentially actually even be the police force, I forgot what they're actually called. But, you know, at the end of the day, I don't actually know what this is going to be beyond. It's clearly Imperium. You know, it's a Smoke Grenade. No other factions, as far as I can tell, really use grenades, like proper smoke grenades. I know plenty of factions use like explosives. I think pretty much every single faction uses explosives in some regard. But yeah, in terms of Space Marines and Imperium and stuff like that, they're the main ones using things like smoke grenades. You know, obviously, it comes to mind that the Reaver Captain, or the Reaver Lieutenant, sorry, literally has a smoke grenade just like this on their base. But yeah, it's an odd one. I don't really know what to take away from it, other than it's probably Imperium. The last few rumour engines have been kind of interesting, just in terms of, you know, they're showing things off that are interesting if you like those factions, because they've been very, very obvious. You know, we've had Seraphon, we've had presumably Space Marines, we've had what was the other one? We've had quite a few things like that where it's just like, it's really obvious what it will be. And I think once again, this is just a thing where it's like, it's probably going to be Astra Militarum. If you're a fan of Astra Militarum, congrats, you've got another model coming on the way. But otherwise, I don't know. It's not really anything that's really interested me too much. It's not even something that's that varied. I don't know. But yeah, that is really going to be it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like it, subscribe if you're new here, and ring a bell so you know when to upload. As always, links below to every article that I've gone over, as well as the link to the post around the Tzeentch reveal. But yeah, otherwise it's going to be it from me. So tell me what you thought of everything I discussed in the comments below, and otherwise I will see you next time. Bye!
Look at the screen, you'll be fine. Culture's a disease, but worlds divine. I just wanna take